In the dark, I play my dreams. Permaculture flows like sweet streams. I'm the daddy with the know-how seed. Creating the world like it's meant to be. Permaculture, P-I-M-P, I'm the king. Wrapping up in everything. Bring a change, making it last. Join the permaculture.
Welcome to episode 360 of the Permaculture Pimpcast, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. The only pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, practical living, and sometimes even prostitutes.
Permaculture, P-I-M-P, with soulful rays. In a P-I-Pimpcast where we find our place.
Oh yeah, good to be here with y'all. Well, here we are already, episode 361. And this episode, as all the others, is brought to you by our oldest sponsor, Hickory Ridge Soap from TwoOldCrowsHomestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bayum Soil Saviors. Yeah, folks, that's how we're cleaning up Western North Carolina. All those so-called forever chemicals that are out there, well, they don't have to be forever. And that's what Soil Saviors. I mean, I tried that stuff for 6 months, looked at it under the microscope, got professional guidance as far as, testing and all that good stuff. We had scalar testing done and we had lab testing done. And this stuff is the cat's meow. Soil Saviors. Yeah, if you want any, it's going to be down below and also at the website. So, not going to fool around. We're going to jump right into the farm news and probably cover a bunch of other things that are out there. If you don't know, folks, if you're wondering why it's not, I've said it before, but people keep wondering why. I guess I need to put out a post on, or several posts on my regular YouTube channel, which is Pasture's Farm, because so many people are wondering why it's not broadcasting over there. Folks, if I go live, I could sing Mary Had a Little Lamb and they will flag it. They will absolutely torpedo that video no matter what. So we're doing it on the Pimpcast channel, doing it on Williams' channel, and also on the Rumble channel. So that's where we're going to be doing it from here on out, because the powers that shouldn't be definitely want to put the brakes on what we're doing, especially when it's live, I guess, because we're more unpredictable that way. So anyway, here we are. And folks, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to the previous episode 360 with Dr. Henry Ely. We didn't get down. I had a whole page of notes of things I wanted to get into, but man, what he does talk about is absolutely fantastic. This is why I love the natural healers so much. This is why I love them any day of the week over the mainstream MD. And the biggest reason is he's talking about healing in a modality that you'll almost never hear the garden variety MD talk about. And it's talking about all the other things that healers years ago would have been talking about. I don't want to mess it all up for you, but it's in his book, and his book's called The Book of Questions. Got it right here, working my way through it. And we covered some of that stuff in there. I mean, honestly, if your mental state isn't right, if you don't have things going on up here right, and for me, that also means spiritual. If those things aren't right, then I honestly believe a lot of other things are going to be falling apart on you. So if you don't get those things right, that's what you're never, ever, ever going to hear from the people in the, what does Dr. Jack Cruz call them? It's probably not something I can actually say on here, but yeah, there's a name for them. But anyway, yeah, son, how you doing?
Good. I've got a lot of just more computer work done lately. I'm telling you what, these glasses definitely make a difference whenever it comes to staring at a computer screen. Before, when I would have a lot of computer work, I'd stare at it and then I'd feel like pressure build up right behind my eyeballs. And that's not the case at all with these glasses. It's awesome.
You're talking about blue light blocking glasses.
Right. Yeah. These ones are from, well, do you want me to say, or are you trying to work out something with them?
No, you can go ahead, but I'm not so sure those are the best you can get, because I did try them out. And when you have on blue light blocking glasses, you should see no shade of blue at all. I mean, none. So I'm not willing to tell everybody what that brand is because I did use them when I was out at that festival, and I found myself in a hotel room. And in that room, I was able, I don't watch TV, not regular TV. So in that hotel room, I was able to watch TV, and I'm like, hold on, how am I seeing parts of blue over here? So it's Yeah, Johnson is talking about raw optics. The only reason I don't like that's what I'm wearing right now. The reason I'm not a big fan of talking about them is I'm not cool with their symbology that they have on a lot of their stuff. So I'm trying to find some other optics company out there that produces something. I mean, I'll give it to them. I mean, they make a glass where I should not see blue at all. You should not see it whatsoever. And yeah. So, son, yeah, maybe not mention them right now. I've told people in the past that have asked, and that's the brand I recommended. But when I put them to the real test this last weekend, don't know that they're getting all of it out. But yeah, it's getting a lot of it, but not all of it. That's for sure.
Gotcha.
Because,
Well,
like, on your end, are you able to see the color blue at all in any capacity?
I mean, the only blue that I can really see is the neon light behind you. And then June made me a Father's Day card on a blue sheet of paper, and I can see that's blue.
Yeah. So
But
it's not.
other than that, not really.
Yeah, so that's not going to be a brand I recommend. That's why I take these things for a serious test drive before I tell anybody about them. So they're blocking out a fair piece, but honestly, it's not enough. And that's where raw optics, I mean, it's expensive. They have expensive glasses over there, but man, they do exactly what they're supposed to. So I'm going to look for another company as soon as I get 2 minutes to rub together. But this is that time of year, folks, for us where there's not enough hours in the day. The sun's going down earlier, and I don't have enough time to do everything I need to do. And that's just a fact of business when you do this sort of thing. So that's look, if you're getting into this space, this is just one of those things you're going to have to deal with. So winter, a lot of people take a breather. I'm not one of those people for the most part. Maybe this winter I might a little bit, but by and large, I'm working 365. So yeah. But I love what I do, so there's something to be said about that. But yeah, son, it should be making a difference on you. But we'll have to find it. We'll have to see if we can't find a better brand because
Now,
yeah,
does the color make it? Because I'm using the daylight ones right now because I'm an hour behind
you're
you.
using the yellow lens.
Yeah, I'm using the yellow lens.
Yeah,
Now the red lens, you can't see any blue.
Okay, well, not on the pair I got. I was using the red lens, and I'll have to double check it again. But on the red lens, I was seeing some blue in there. So
Okay,
yeah,
I'll
if you're
double
seeing-
check too.
Yeah, because in the yellow lenses that are meant for during the day, remember you got to use it in. It's got to be coordinated with nature because when do you get blue light in nature? Whenever you're able to get vitamin D. So right now, even in your space, you're not able to get vitamin D. So you should be using the red lens. At that point, if it's midday when you're, you can use that app called D-Minder to kind of figure that out. So if there's blue light in the environment, yeah, you can put on the yellow glasses, but if there isn't, you want to make sure you got on the red. And also your skin's absorbing this stuff. So even in your house, this is why having people on like Dr. Ely, looking at the work of Dr. Cruz, it's so valuable to have these people on there because folks, they are trying to poison you 30 ways to Sunday. And if you got those compact fluorescents in your house, you got those LEDs, you need to try to exchange them and get something else in there, preferably a full spectrum bulb that you can put on a dimmer or even red incandescents. That's going to be the best. So yeah, people are going to think you're running a brothel up in there, but you're going to be getting yourself squared away, and it makes all the difference in your sleep as well. We'll do subsequent shows and talk more about that. So other things going on around here. Well, as I've told everybody before, I'm trying to eat more in tune with whatever's harvestable. So right now there's a whole lot of lettuce and other things that I can put on salads, which is cool. And then when winter rolls around, I'm going to go full to the bore carnivore. So I'm going to eat what is in season. If it's not carnivore, if it's not strictly that, it's going to be fermented food, which is different. That would be technically eating in season if it is fermented food. So that's what I'm doing right now. And, generally feel pretty good when we're not being attacked from the sky. Yes, and your mom has had a lot of respiratory issues as of late. Mm-hmm. And I did an interview with Crow 777 yesterday. And, same thing with his family. I mean, it's for some reason, it seems to be affecting women more whenever they do this heavy chemistry, at least from the respiratory standpoint.
Well, same here. It's now like I'm doing carnivore right now. I've been on carnivore for a while, and historically carnivore has been the only diet that has completely gotten rid of my allergies, except recently. And I would say, except for starting last year, is when carnivore no longer worked to get rid of allergies. If I go outside, like give it maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and I'm full blown allergy attack again. It's insane. I'm not eating anything that should create any sort of inflammation. Like the meat I eat is cooked in like it's not seed oils or anything like that. It's just meat, and then the dairy that I consume is clean dairy. Yeah, I'm
Is
not
it
taking in
local
anything.
dairy?
No, it's not local, but it's the best we can do.
Yeah.
Dad, I
So
live in a food desert, Dad.
yeah, I know that. I know it all too well. But if you can avoid that, it could very well be I mean, this is why examining all these people's work, and I'm going to have some news on that sort of thing, so we can disseminate a lot of this information out to all of you out there, and get other people on the program, because folks, I talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time. Dr. Ely, if you listen to the last night's program, he's come up with a protocol to, well, last time somebody said this, we got kicked off for 2 weeks, so I'll try to be careful about. I can't even believe I got to govern what I'm saying regarding this thing, but Dr. Ely has come up with a protocol that can extract a lot of this dumb stuff out of you. Okay, I'll put it that way. And I've talked about some of the others from like Dr. Anna Michalczyk, which was a combination of EDTA and vitamin C, which I do twice a week. Folks, we're gonna lean a little bit more, as much as I possibly can, into the health space, because look, if we're gonna do this work, look, I'm 55 right now. Ain't getting no younger. I know that, I do things that, that's a lot of people my age maybe don't do. And I want to continue to do it, because this is the work. When I say permaculture is my passion, y'all, I mean it. So if this is the work I love to do, I have got to find the ways to chelate all the junk out of me. I got to find ways to be able to do this as long as I possibly can. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a blessing to a lot of you out there as well. So, yes, and we'll talk more about what some of your issues might be, but a lot of it could even be your light hygiene. It could be a number of other things. We'll talk more about that in the future, because it's the little pernicious, insidious things that they do. It's like, okay, so it's at night. You're wearing your blue light blockers, okay? You got your red ones on. And you go out in the kitchen, you get in the fridge. Well, guess what? They got an LED light in that fridge. Bam. You just got hit. Or it could be something as simple like, for us, the light on the coffee pot. Well, it's blue light. And even though they got the tech to do otherwise, and Steve says, I'm 66. Farming steep mountains every day helps to stay vigorous. Yes, it does. And despite all the fact that we're being covered up every single day. So yeah, folks, I mean, it's the little things that make all the difference in the world. I've even come up with this hack where you can put it over your TV. I keep forgetting to bring that up here. I talked to Logan about it from Sowing Prosperity. Sharp dude. If you're not listening to this podcast, I mean, man, he has so many awesome things concerning health. And man, I learned so much on there. But I told him about one of the hacks. If you want to watch TV, well, you can do it without wearing even your blue light blockers, because I've come up with a hack. Everything they sell on the market that supposedly blocks the blue light, son, I mean, all of it is a scam. Not one of them works. And if there's one out there that I didn't buy, because I sent every last one of them back except for one, and I'm using it to put the stuff on there that actually works. So it blocks all the blue light off of there. Absolutely nothing's coming off. But it's the little things that can make all the difference in the world, especially in your sleeping environment. You want it to, like Logan, when he was on the show, you don't want to be able to see the hand in front of your face, because even your skin, the melanopsin in there, is picking up all this stuff that you're not supposed to have. It's one thing if it's moonlight, I'm sure, but it's entirely another when it's, non-native EMF light, which we all seem to have everywhere, and they do it in the most pernicious ways. But we'll talk more about that in the future. So other things we got going on, we got sheep. Well, they're moving. Well, this is crazy because we have so much moisture. Normally at this time of year, when we're approaching fall, at least through the summer, I would have them on a 2-day rotation. I'd have them moving every 2 days. And that's not the case, man. This grass is still so vigorous. It's almost like spring flush in some areas. So I'm back to moving them twice a day. I was moving them every other day for the most part when they were on the steepest parts of the mountain. And then I had to move them every single day because, well, they were eating themselves out of house and home. So now you got to be thinking about that part. And I've talked about it a little bit on Patreon, where when you start getting into fall and winter, you got to be thinking about, okay, do I want to sit here and provide hay to all these animals? So if you got some guys that ain't cutting the, they're not cutting the mustard, you need to be thinking, you should have already been thinking about it, but if you haven't, it's not too late. You want to be thinking about how you can thin those guys and gals out. Look, this ain't no petting zoo. It's get loose or get lost around here. And I mean, for everybody, including the animals. So if you got a mom, like we got one out here right now, and she had some foot problems. Okay, you got to go in the freezer, or you got to go somewhere else. It can't be here. So we were able to, when I'm saying folks, foot problems, I mean that Delta Mike Sierra Oscar, which I can't say on this show without us getting banned, using that along with Miracle, what do they call that stuff, son? What's another name for that?
Pool cleaner.
Yeah, the pool cleaner. Yeah, using a combination of both of those, man, I'm seeing miraculous stuff happen in animals that I would ordinarily need to put down.
Hey, Dad, the last episode that we did, we discovered that opposite day works. So tell them what it doesn't do.
Wait, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
I'm speaking carefully on purpose. Like, telling them what it doesn't do is perfectly fine.
Yeah, but you're hoping that the people on the other end, because we're getting a lot of new viewers, they don't have a clue what we're talking about. So that's where it's a little bit troublesome. So anyway, there's a substance out there. It starts with chlorine, and that's all I'm going to tell you. And using that, we give it to them every single day in their water. But the Delta Mike Sierra Oscar, good night, man. That stuff it does miraculous stuff. I know my buddy EJ uses it for every injury he gets. I mean, he messed up his toe in a bad kind of way, used that stuff, and bam, he was back in the saddle. It's really something else, folks. And it's crazy because you can just buy it right off the shelf. And this stuff, I mean, we buy it by the gallon just in case, because, when things jump off, you're going to have your own pharmacy at the house. And this stuff does incredible things. So and this is the kind of people we want to get on this show to talk about this stuff. So anyway, we got a sheep over there. You want to be thinking about how you're going to thin them out unless you're going to feed them through the winter. And you got to ask yourself, okay, if I got a bunch of pregnant ewes along with the ones that they had last year, and you got some in there that shouldn't be there, why are you if you're going to have to feed hay through the winter, they shouldn't be there. You need to be putting them in the freezer or putting them to the sale barn or selling them, giving them away, whatever. But you don't want to necessarily, that's how you go broke doing this work. You fall in love with your animals. I get it. Look, I love them too. I love you dearly, but hey, if you can't keep your feet squared away in the freezer, you're going to go. So that's just going to have to be the case there. Well, anyway, son, what's going on your end?
Just still plugging away at that online permaculture design course that I've been doing on Patreon. Got some order of operations written up today. Yeah, just a lot of computer work. And I'm also trying to get a bunch of the permaculture design course squared away before I go over to Midwest Preparedness next week and teach there. That's going to be in Kansas, by the way, if anybody's interested. It's a completely free event. Yeah, that's mostly what I'm doing. Now, the other day, something interesting happened with the pigs. In fact, you called me in the middle of digging a grave. So a while back, out at the property, I burned some cursed objects, some suspected cursed objects. And the whole time I was burning, the pigs were squealing like crazy. And then the other day, was it 2 days ago? I went out to the property to go feed the pigs, and one of them was dead for no real apparent reason. There was a yellow foam coming out of their nose, but like no puncture wounds, no signs that they got into anything or anything like that. I got on the next day. I got on Brighteon.ai, their Enoch, and I put in the entire scenario, the entire situation. What's cool about that AI is that it's all of Mike Adams' interviews ever, any books referenced, all that stuff is shoved into this AI system, and I gave it the whole scenario, and it gave me 3 different options. One of them was like a respiratory virus, but it doesn't make any sense because, and this is what it was saying, is that doesn't make any sense because none of your other pigs were affected. Pneumonia, which doesn't make any sense because none of your pigs were affected, or contaminated feed or contaminated something in the property, which doesn't make any sense because none of the other pigs were affected. It was just this one pig that literally looks like it just keeled over and died, and yeah, with yellow foam coming out of its nose. So I was actually in the process of digging a hole, burying it, whenever Dad was calling me, and I explained the whole situation. And whenever I went out there and discovered the pig, there was something large tromping around back by that back fence. It was bipedal, just based on the foot or the sounds of the footsteps and everything. It was bipedal, and it was large, and it was like bounding. And it wasn't like I don't really know how to explain the feeling very well, but it was like you heard the footsteps and you knew it wasn't like, because squirrels sound much bigger than they actually are. You know when it's a squirrel if you've heard a squirrel before, and it wasn't that. And then I, after the running from one end to the other, I heard it bound 3 times too. So it was weird scenario.
Yeah, there's definitely the heebie-jeebies over that place, but we've been praying on it, and hoping whatever's out there is extracted and gone, and that the Lord puts his mighty angels around it and around you as you're working out there. So, and around whatever animals that are being used on that property. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy, weird, unusual, weird stuff happening even on this end as well. I won't go into a lot of it right now, but yeah, we've had some unusual activity as well. But hey, a lot of that sometimes means that you're over the target. Well, speaking over the target, man, they've been doing a whole lot of that around here as of late. I mean, I've took pictures of it. I was going to do videos, and I was going to post it to, platforms like X and even YouTube and stuff like that. But I was like, man, I've covered this so much. I don't know what it takes. When you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I got people still calling me a freaking conspiracy theorist, when Marjorie Taylor Greene just sat there all day before yesterday, I believe, talking about the geoengineering that's going on. I mean, all day long, and still idiots are out here. I mean, like Jack Cruz says, it's not a conspiracy theory when you can find patents for it, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so if you're still throwing that word around, you're demonstrating your lack of intelligence. I mean, there are patents on this. We have all the visual evidence in the world. We got whistleblowers. It's all out there. So many documentaries, it'll make your head spin. And we still got people that seem to respond with, oh, that's a conspiracy. No. What? Okay. Go back and look at the last thing, and I'll just say this one last time. The last thing Julian Assange posted before they wrapped him up and locked him away. The last thing he posted, what was it about? The magic dust is what he called it. And next thing you know, he was wrapped up. Yeah. So it's out there, but I'm having this certain reluctance because I know that at this point I'm preaching to the choir. I don't know. I really don't know. When we've lost 1.8 million people to a jab and they're still not waking up, I don't know what I can do at this point. So if anything, I might do a video just because it's cathartic for me. I'll admit that. But at the end of the day, man, if you're awake, you're awake. But for some reason, those that are stuck in the matrix, I have never seen more non-player characters in my life. In fact, I was talking to my buddy Steve out in Arizona, and he was telling me the same thing. He's like, dude, are you noticing that it's nearly, I like, you can ask your mom, I dread going to the bank. Because to get anything done there, folks, I kid you not, I'm banking with a local bank, and you can't make a deposit or withdrawal unless you go there in person. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I mean, where, I was banking with a little small town Kansas bank, a small town Texas bank, where I could take a picture of the check and deposit it, or, make online transfers, all that kind of stuff. And we've been battling with this bank for the last 2 years now. You're probably saying, well, why don't you go get a new bank? Yeah. Easier said than done. I mean, we got multiple bank accounts for a whole variety of reasons. Remember, y'all, we're into preparedness as well. So there's a reason why we do that. Multiple banks, and there's a reason for it. And I'm sure you can figure out what those reasons are. Maybe I probably ought to do a show on that, because there is a strategic reason for doing that. Because more than once, when I've said things that I shouldn't say, that all of a sudden I'll go to an ATM, and I usually carry money on me anyway, but I'll go to an ATM, and lo and behold, this thing ain't working right. Son, there was even this one time, I kid you not, rolled up to the ATM, got up there and this thing started flipping out as soon as I put the card in. And I prayed right there on the spot. I don't know why I felt the compulsion to do it, but I did. And all of a sudden, this thing straightened itself out. And then it happened like 1 or 2 more times after that. And very same thing. And I prayed all over again, and then the thing worked. So, yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in this world right now. But anyway, I wanted to cover what Marjorie Taylor Greene was doing yesterday. We got 538 people in Congress, and we got 2 honest ones, her and Thomas Massey. There may be 1 or 2 others, but by and large, I mean, every last one of them seemed to be completely sold out. So wrote to my congressman about and my 2 senators about what's going on here. Oh, it's a conspiracy. They literally wrote that back to me. Oh, well, we don't really engage in conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, man. I mean, you people are so freaking sold out. I don't know what to say at this point. Well, anyway, one other thing I wanted to cover some before we move on, because we're getting to the point where the Charlie Kirk thing is starting to fall off the radar a little bit, but in certain circles, it's not. If anything, it might be gaining steam the more Netanyahu talks. It might be gaining steam the more we have, and by the way, you folks that wrote to me and said, I'm not a ballistic expert. I don't know what I'm talking about. A 30-06 wouldn't do that, or would do exactly what they said. Only thing I can say politely to you is, may your chains set lightly upon you. Because we just had a ballistics expert come out, former Marine Corps scout sniper, which makes him probably and he was an instructor at that and a ballistics expert. One of the best. I mean, Marine, first of all, there ain't nobody that shoots better than Marines. I mean, take any branch you want. Marines are the best. They get the most training. They get the best training. Why they don't do it in the Army, I don't know. We shoot up to 300 meters. They shoot up to 500. So Marines are no joke, just with iron sights and a M16. Okay, so Marines are no joke. But when you take a Marine Corps scout sniper, his video out there on X seems to be going, and YouTube also seems to be going viral, because he's showing that without a doubt the official story is cartoonish at most. And he said almost word for word what I said. He said a 30-06. I'm not trying to be crass here, y'all, but a 30-06. There would have been no neck, okay, from that direction. And then he proves beyond all doubt that the shot came from the opposite direction. It definitely, what you saw there was an exit wound, according to him. And so many anomalies, it's really blowing my mind. I mean, 5 minutes after they removed Charlie off the site, first of all, why weren't the paramedics doing it? Okay, that's number one. They move him off the site, throw him in the vehicle, and it was 5 minutes later, son, they're taking down the camera, the high vis camera, the high resolution camera. They're taking it down 5 minutes after this thing happened. This day, right now, as I speak to you, that area is a construction project. Who even heard of such things? I mean, it's a construction project? And then, does it seem, and I told y'all, I said this on X, and I've also said it right here, that when things like this go down, that they're contrived because lots of things are bundled into it, just like it was with 9/11. It wasn't just taking down the towers. It was bundled in with like 15, 20 other things that all happened at the same time. And this is no different. So at exactly the same time, you had the Senate voting to not release the Epstein files. What was it? 51-49 was the vote. Folks, that right there should tell you how owned this country is, how compromised this country is. So all of a sudden, 2 things, and I'm sure there's a long list of other things. So what happened? That happened on September 10th. Well, September 11th came, and we have more evidence now, like the late great Jim Mars once said, and he said this like within just a couple of years after 9/11. He was the guy that wrote the book Crossfire about the JFK assassination. In fact, the movie JFK was based on his book, and Jim Mars wrote a bunch of other incredible books as well. I got them probably all down in my library, but he's passed on now. But I remember him in an interview saying that there exists, and he was talking about 9/11. He said there exists at least 20 to 30 times the evidence that 9/11 was an inside job than there exists of the Kennedy assassination. But he said for some reason, those same assassination aficionados during the Kennedy assassination will not take a second look at the stuff that happened on 9/11. Well, here we are, all these years removed, and we had tons of, I'm sure, documentaries and additional information that's come out that makes the whole official story a flipping. It's laughable. I mean, it's laughable. One of these days, I'm going to get on Richard Gage from Architects and Engineers from 9/11 Truth. I'm going to get him on here, and folks, when you hear the forensic information, and I've talked about some of it here, when you hear it, you're going to say, how could anybody believe this? Well, already a lot of people have gotten there with this Charlie Kirk thing. So, son, I got a feeling that when you have Marines, snipers, and a number of others out here that are ballistic experts, confirming what I said from the very beginning, from the day this happened, and I said, look, they're going to use Charlie Kirk as the next Crispus Attucks. Well, I don't know that has necessarily done the trick. But look at all the things that were bundled into it. But too many people are starting to ask questions. So don't be shocked, folks. This is why we say stay alert, stay alive, because don't be shocked if by, I don't know, this time next week, that all of a sudden there's some other big national distraction that occurs, whether tragic or otherwise, that gets us to stop talking about this. Because now, there's so many things that, I mean, you're looking at Netanyahu constantly talking. All the people that knew Charlie Kirk personally said, hey, this guy was about to come out like a ton of bricks on Israel. And he bit the hand that fed him. And, if you had to line up the likely suspects, it's definitely not this kid they got locked in there. I have yet, sorry for the long monologue, son. I'll pass it over to you in a second, but I'll just say this one last thing. I have yet to see any information. They are absolutely crucifying this kid in the court of public opinion. They got us just like Ben from Renewed Homestead. I don't know if the video actually came out, but maybe it has yet, because I haven't had a chance to look. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to look yet. I got to see a preview of it. I'm not trying to steal their thunder, but everybody should watch it, because when Denise sent it to me, I was looking at it and I was like, man, this is exactly how I feel. We are being played like a freaking Stradivarius. We're being played like cheap fiddles. They don't even care. We're not being played like Stradivarius. They don't have that kind of care. We're being played like kazoos. I don't know. All at one time. You can see it unfold. All of these people. And then when I see a confluence of all these people saying the same exact thing, I mean, almost word for word, it's war now. It's okay. So it didn't go off the way they planned. So be expecting something else to get them nudged a little bit further, because honestly, the people that are already on to believing, they've already convicted this kid, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick. How many patsies, and I've talked about them last week, how many patsies have we had out there? How about that guy during the Olympics? They blamed it on him, and only to find out he didn't have anything to do with it. He was a real life hero. Richard Jewell, I believe his name was, during the Atlanta Olympics. They blamed him for what went on. It was probably the FBI. But here we are. Everybody's over convicting this kid. I don't care what his sexual orientation was. Oh, he's into furries. That's the new thing now. First of all, how do you even know that's even true? And you're being told everything you think you know is told to you by profligate and prostitute liars. Liars. Folks, I would doubt that I'm watching the sun rise over the mountains every day if I officially was told it by our government or anybody in the media. But here it is. They have zero evidence that I've seen that's credible. Where's the bullet? Ain't nobody got that. How do you have a murder? You're telling me the official story, folks, I'm going to tell you one more time. Why is nobody talking? He jumped off the side of the building, supposedly. Anybody talking about how he got up there in the first place? Isn't that a logical question? Shouldn't we be asking, folks? I'm so aggravated by this. I'm so pissed off by it that everybody, no matter how many times we get hoodwinked, we keep falling for the same nonsense left and right. So here it is. They find some clown off the street. Oh, they want to frame him. Oh, he's into child porn. They can plant that stuff on your devices. How do you even know that? I mean, I haven't seen one bit of credible evidence that says this kid did anything. Okay, let's say he was into furries or whatever else. First of all, how do you even know that's true, number one? And if he was, what in the hell does that have anything to do with this? What's that got? I mean, let's say, I don't care if he was in the things with Uncle Fester and Gumby. What's that got to do with this? Show me some evidence. You're showing him jumping off the roof. Okay, you got that footage? Well, where's the footage of him supposedly taking the shot? We got high-def cameras all over this campus, but you're showing me Bigfoot footages, Bigfoot photos that's so grainy that you don't know who that is. Every picture of this guy, supposedly this kid, it's a 41-inch barrel. How are you getting that in the backpack? Man, I'm so sick and tired of this stuff. It's driving me crazy. What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the real sad part is that there's 2 fatherless daughters now because they wanted to or just change the population's opinion just because they're trying to manipulate the population. One thing I do want to say is Renewed Homestead seems to be having some technical issues with the moderation on here, which checks out. Just so you know, Renewed, we can see your Denise, we can see your comments and your posts and everything, but it doesn't look like anybody else is able to see your posts. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it checks out though. Honestly.
Well, yeah, somebody says look up the tail number N888KG. Yeah, there you go. So Steve wrote, there's a newer video showing a fit, short-haired guy wearing brown clothes appearing to shoot Kirk at close range. Yeah, I've heard about that too. In fact, that Marine Corps sniper, he's like, dude, what y'all just saw, that blood spurting, trying to get graphic here, but folks, that was an exit wound. Steve, show me anybody on this planet that's ever shot flesh and blood with a .6 that didn't leave a hole the size of a grapefruit, and that's without hitting bone. That's why from the very beginning, I said this is garbage, absolute garbage, this official story. Johnson says, Netanyahu, and yes, this is another one. I'm glad you pointed it out. Netanyahu, oh, by the way, his real name is Milkowski. Nobody tells you that. Yeah, he changed it to Netanyahu to seem more Jewish, okay? But yeah, he's Milkowski. He's from Poland. Anyway, he offered Charlie Kirk $150 million. Charlie said no. Yeah, he was offered, and that's where that polecat Netanyahu didn't bother telling anybody. Yeah, they wanted to bring him over there. Charlie turned him down. And this is what Tucker Carlson, and boy, you talk about all of the people coming after Carlson, Candace Owens, some of the other people that knew him personally and said, yeah, he had every intention. And if you look at the video that's out there, he was coming down on that. He was saying, dude, this is a freaking genocide that's going on over there. I can't defend this. So it's one thing for somebody like me to ask critical questions about Israel or my own government. People are less offended me asking questions about my own government than they are Israel, son. I don't get that because they misunderstand scripture. Yeah, go back and read that part in Genesis. It's talking to Abraham. Okay, there wasn't even an Israel at that time. Anyway, it was directed at Abraham, and as
a singular statement.
It's a singular statement, and as the story unfolds, you see how that plays out because everybody that kind of from the Pharaoh in Egypt to everybody else that messed with Abraham, well, it didn't work out so well for him. And so anyway, yeah, the bottom line is with all this stuff, folks, we're being lied to. But sadly, let me just say this. I keep saying I'm going to say one last thing, but I got to point this out, folks. How do I say this? This guy, Kirk, I didn't know a whole lot about him. I knew some, not a whole lot. I wasn't an avid follower. Most people in my generation didn't really follow the guy all that much. But as I've been able to do a little sleuth work in between all the work I'm doing, it turns out that this guy was definitely having a change of heart. And then when you see, it's like Shakespeare said, you know, in Hamlet. Hamlet says to, I believe it was Gertrude, methinks thou doth protest too much. Methinks the woman protests too much. Basically, you're trying a little bit too hard. So when you see all the people out there like Brandon, I can't think of his name right now. It's not worth remembering, I suppose. When you see all these people that try a little too hard, you got to ask yourself the reasons why. The people that are trying too hard to sell you a narrative, the Mark Levins, you can see right through him, Ben Shapiro. There's no justice in this world unless I find myself in the elevator with that guy alone. And it breaks down. You want to talk about a 5-minute flurry of fists. Yeah. So it's definitely a crazy place. So anyway, I think honestly, if you look at some of the other things that it was meant to do, I think all the people that have been paid, Brandon Tatum and a number of others, all these people that have been paid that were thinking about, you know what, Charlie's making some good points here. Maybe I think I'm going to jump off the reservation. You know what? They're rethinking their whole position right now, realizing, oh man, no matter who did it, I know who I think the number one suspect is. If anyone thinks so in the chat, by all means, look at it for yourself. I mean, put it out there. Maybe some other folks will agree with you. But I think it was also to stand notice to everybody out there who has any thoughts of stepping out of line. There was, like I said, it was multifaceted. So all the people that are on the paid tit of Israel are now saying, yeah. And in fact, Mike Adams, this was interesting. Mike Adams made a prediction. He says, hey, y'all, I'm being leaned on by a whole lot of people telling me to quit, back off of Israel. He says, watch, I'll bet you any amount of money you're going to find people out there that are going to, influencers that with big audiences that are going to start complying. And what happened? Right on cue. Exactly what happened. So everybody's going to have their own. I mean, honestly, I don't win popularity by talking about this, but folks, I'm going to talk the truth the way I know it. The forensic evidence. You got Harold and Kumar over there at the FBI dropping this asinine information. Okay, I'm supposed to believe, first of all, he teleported up there somehow. How did he get on the roof? Okay, and if he got up there through some stairs or through a hole in the roof, which almost certainly there is, why wouldn't he take the same way down? Okay, why would he sit here and jump off the side, potentially injuring himself when he can go back down the same way he came in? Okay, that's number one. Number two, to break down that weapon from the lower to the upper receiver requires a screwdriver. You got to remove 2 screws, and then, of course, to get it in the backpack, you got to remove the scope, which now, son, you take the scope off that weapon, what did you just do? It ain't zeroed anymore. That weapon,
potentially.
No, not the one he had. First of all, if you look at the scope and the way it's mounted on there in the first place, you'd have a black eye if you even tried to shoot that thing, because the scope is mounted too far back to even be effective. And then if you look at the type of scope he supposedly have, there's such a thing as you can overpower your optics, which it would have. I mean, there was not anything about this that gives anybody. And first of all, it wasn't a Not 6 that did it. When you look at this whole thing and this story we're being told, folks, it keeps happening because by and large, most of us believe it. I don't even know what planet I'm on anymore, because as long as it comes from this administration, people that should or would ordinarily, if the same thing would have happened under the Biden administration, some of these same people that are just champions for Harold and Kumar, in fact, instead of running the FBI, man, why don't they just come out with another stoner movie called Dude, Where's My Evidence? Because I ain't seeing it. Then they do one like, Dude, Where's My Car? Well,
I don't know.
they need one called Dude, Where's My Evidence? Because honestly, I ain't seen nothing. And everybody's falling in line convicting this kid. And as far as we know, I mean, dude, they probably got Jolly and West 2.0 in there shooting this kid up with sodium pentothal. Who even knows what, man? It's crazy. We know nothing. We're not informed on anything. And then just on the basis of Fox News telling everybody he's guilty. Come on, folks. We got to wake up. We got to do better.
Hey, real quick, just to put a stamp on that whole singular statement, Yahusha's kingdom coming said, yep, then read Galatians 3:27-29. And that reads, for as many of you as were immersed into Messiah, having put on Messiah, there is no Jew nor Greek, there is no slave nor free, there is no male or female, for you all are one in Messiah. And if you are of Messiah, then you are the seed of Abraham and heirs according to promise.
Bam. Right there. But good luck getting these Schofield evangelicals to even look at something like that. And by the way, man, if you want to see the best expose I've seen so far, watch Pastor Chuck Baldwin on this whole Charlie Kirk thing this last Sunday. Go to Liberty, look up Chuck Baldwin, man. You'll find it somewhere or another. Anyway, folks, it was not my intent to spend so much time on that, but the real truth of it is, man, good night. I didn't realize I spent almost the whole program talking about it.
Hold on. Let's be honest, Dad. This is typical. That's why I say we should title all podcasts, We'll Find Out.
Yeah. Wow. I look up and I'm like, man, we're already 44 minutes in. Okay, we're going to save that topic for the next program. I think we're going to have to rename this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So I'll just keep on this one.
Do it.
H&A Life says, yeah, so they found the screwdriver, but check this out. They found the screwdriver supposedly on the roof. They had crews up there just like they did in Butler, spraying it down, you know. Okay, so tell me this. Son, tell me if this makes sense. So somehow he broke this thing down, got it in a backpack, jumped off the roof because you can't see any evidence of him, getting off there with a rifle. Somehow took it out to the woods, reassembled it, and left it out there. But meanwhile, the screwdriver is on the roof and somehow has his DNA on it. Yeah. Anybody buying that? And here's the best part. Here's the laughable part. My man changed his clothes twice. So he took a shot and said, oh, okay. He does I guess there's a phone booth up there, and he did one of those Superman spin around the phone booth thing, and then he changed his clothes real quick. And then, jumps off the side of the building, and they're telling us he's on estrogen patches. Okay. Anybody buying this? I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know. Well, let me talk about some of the things that are coming up real quick. I'm just going to change the topic a minute, and we'll come back to this because there's some pretty important stuff coming up here. So I had Dr. Ely on, and they got not a festival, but a conference. It's going to be going on in Dallas, but there's also online seating you can get as well. Michelle and I have attended this thing for the last 2 years online, but this year, William and I are going to be there in person. And that's the Healing for the Ages conference. And PERMA will get you 30% off of that. That's going to be October 23rd through the 25th. And we're going to be out there, and folks, we're going to be boots on the ground getting information that we can disseminate on this podcast to everybody out here. All the people that have been affected with, maybe you have some buyer's remorse with some of the things you've taken in the past. We're going to try and address a lot of that. And I got to go to these things. I mean, whether it's online or whether it's in person, but honestly, having access to these people in the VIP section of something like this enables me to get up close, possibly do interviews. So if you have any questions or anything, before that happens, we'll probably reach out, and I'll see if I can't go right up to Dr. Artis and ask his questions, because he practically broke the internet when he told everybody on here, when he told the Trump administration about his cure for the jab. I mean, folks, you talk about suppressing something. I made a short of that, put it on X, and they made sure nobody saw that one. So, yeah, I got an interview with Dr. Artis back in the archives, and everything I do with any medical professional, folks, from here on out is going to have to be on Rumble. Just can't do it here. I mean, we got people that are healing folks left and right. So this AGES conference is going to be, there's a number of others, but the reason why it's called AGES is the acronym. It's Dr. Artis, Dr. Edward Group, Dr. Ely, and Dr. Schmidt. They're like the four musketeers right there. And then they got like a backup dancers that are going to be doing a lot of other things as well. So William and I will be there in the VIP section. Yeah, if you want to go there, like I said, PERMA will get you 30% off, and we'll be able to see you there. So that's going to be in Dallas, and we're going to hopefully get a lot of good video out of that, provided we still got it Earth, because these fools definitely want to get rid of it. So anyway, Redemption Shield, y'all, 10% off with promo code PERMA. You know that every single time I do a show, I'm G'd up from the feet up, and that means grounded. Anyway, if you want anything over there, 10% off with PERMA. Wave Watch, Billy 100. Everybody that saw me this last weekend out of the East Tennessee Homestead Alliance, you're probably wondering what that was on my wrist. Well, it was a Wave Watch, and a number of people asked me about that. Everybody's perplexed. They're like, dude, with what you talk about, why are you wearing an Apple Watch? I'm like, dude, this is a Wave Watch. This thing has no EMF coming off of it. I know because I checked it out. I got all the stuff to check it out. So, yeah, Billy 100 will get you $100 off that Wave Watch. And man, it's the cat's meow. So every time I go to town, you better believe I got that thing on. Kerry Brown, he's a friend of mine. He runs Strong Roots Resources. And if you want to get a hold of him, it's Kerry Brown at Gmail, or Strong Roots Resources at gmail.com. And they got a rotational grazing class that's going to be coming up this weekend. So that's going to be in East Tennessee, I believe, somewhere. Anyway, just email him if you want more information, or go to their website, strongrootsresources.com. They got a lot of cool classes over there that you can be a part of. So, yeah, no doubt about it. That's you're definitely going to want to get some of that stuff. Well, anyway, son, you excited about meeting your old man in Dallas?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm not excited about driving in Dallas, but hey, at least we're heading towards doctors.
Yeah,
Catches
no.
back up.
Hey, that might be necessary, dude. This is Dallas. I mean, it's not, folks. The thing that blows my mind is Dallas is one of those cities, man, where I'm telling you, every illegal in the world, they drive on the shoulder like it's like it's part of the road. Cops will pull you over in East Texas and shake you down for the change in your pocket, but they will let these guys get away with bloody murder. Son, am I lying?
No, you're not. I mean, you can really drive however you want to. Once you get past like Rockwall, once you get past Rockwall, Texas, heading west on I-30, you can do whatever you want on the road, and it's all fair game. I hate driving in Dallas. I get mad driving in Dallas. Like I had a consultation on the other side of Dallas one time. I drove on the way back from the consultation, it started raining. I drove all the way up to Dallas, no accidents. I hit Dallas, 5 accidents. I got out of Dallas, no more accidents. I can't stand driving in Dallas.
Yeah, I guess we're not encouraging folks to actually go to this conference by saying, well, anyway, they do have an online version of it. And
Right.
these, Dr. Ely was talking about one of the big things he's going to discuss this year is how to extract these chemtrails out of us. And it was crazy. I wanted to get into it with the interview, but this was the first interview. And having talked to him, it looks like I'm going to try to bring him on about once a month. He and I just really hit it off in a big way. And, I'm going to try to break this stuff down and have him talk about chemtrails and talk about the experiments that he did on himself. And it's going to blow your mind. I mean, the Healing for the Ages docs, man, they went and got a electron microscope and got a tech 9 yards. So the money that they make from these conferences, they're advancing the science, good science that we know we can use. And honestly, I use products from all of them. And I talked about it in that podcast. I use products from every last one of them. And I'll just tell you real quick, or at least if not products, also methodology, because it's Dr. Ely that made me aware of how many different antennas there are in these iPhones or whatever phone you have and how to disable them. I didn't know about that until I heard about him. And so I do it religiously. And every single time I pick, and this is why I'm always talking about being grounded when I'm using any electronics, because it makes all the difference in the world. So folks, we're going to go there. We're going to get that information. We're going to, turn back around and give it to everybody here.
Hey, you know what I just realized, Dad? The ones that claim conspiracy theory the most often are also the ones that are suffering the most through health from these systems. You know what I mean?
Son, I can't say it publicly, but I'll tell you privately. There's a well-known podcaster out there who was really breaking my chops about this. And he's the embodiment of the very thing you're talking about, where
Wow.
I've sent him, Dr. Cruz's work. And then he is breaking my chops about what I'm writing on X from time to time. Folks, I may put a lot of stuff out there. I do it in spurts. I mean, I'll go out there. I'll, see some things I find interesting and I maybe repost them. And then I'll add a addendum of what I think about it. And then there was one guy in particular, if I said his name, everybody probably know, but he was like, not everything is a conspiracy theory. And I'm like, this dude, I don't know what you're looking at. I'm first of all, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. I can say conspiracy without adding theory to it. If, all of a sudden you have this guy, this old Jewish guy in the crowd where, Charlie gets shot and he says, I did it, shoot me. And all of a sudden they cart him off to jail. Does that sound like there's some collusion or some coordination going on there? They take him off to jail while everybody's checking this guy out. I mean, if you're believing the official story, if you're believing anything Harold and Kumar at the FBI are telling you, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know. So you got that going on. You got experts. You got former Navy SEALs like Michael Jaco saying all of this is laughable, is absolutely laughable. Then we have another person come out today. Jake Shields put it out on his X account where the acoustics evidence shows that this dude was not shot from 200 yards away. It was more like 75 at best. So some of the witnesses that were openly speaking, and there were several at first, that were saying, hold on, man, this thing sounded like it was like right next to me. and all those people were shut down. So yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on, folks. And the reason why I'm staying on top of this is the reason why this stuff keeps happening is because they come out with the next shiny thing and then we just drop off and forget about it. But if you look at what's intended to happen here, just like Ben says in that video, and I recommend when it comes out, everybody watch it if it hasn't already, at Renewed Homestead, where honestly, if you don't feel like you're being played right now, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Folks, this is called the strategy of tension. This is exactly how it's done. Yuri Bezmenov, he was a Russian defector, wicked smart, back in the 80s, talked about exactly how this thing would unfold, and it's happening to the letter exactly as Yuri Bezmenov said it would. And most of us, I understand, look, a lot of us are struggling just to put bread on the table. I get it. I totally understand. But man, you have got to have a functioning nation as well. And you're not going to as long as this stuff keeps jumping off like this. Man, where on earth did the time go, son?
Yeah, I know where it went. I mean, Dad, do your thing. I mean, you're speaking a lot of truth right now, and it's important to, if nothing else, just to show people that, hey, you're not alone in your thinking right now. Like, you ain't the only one thinking this. There is a group of us with however big platforms that agree with you. It's not everybody thinking what the far right people on YouTube are saying, or whatever the far left on YouTube is saying, or the news channels and stuff like that. Like, hey, you ain't the only one that's noticing that we're being played. We're being lied to.
Yeah, there's so many different things that just do not add up. And there's not one official version of anything they've told. I mean, I'm trying to find a single one that makes sense. Not one. Like I said, dude, why would you jump off the side of the building making it more obvious? You clearly didn't jump up there. So why didn't you make provisions? And look, I've done so much doing electric work. I've worked on so many roofs. I know how those things work. You can, even if you didn't want to leave it open, you could crack it just enough to where you can still get in there, because once you shut it, you can only open it from the inside in most cases. And there's some cases where you can open it from the outside. But even if you didn't shut that hole, the access that got you on the roof, you wouldn't shut it all the way. I mean, this is just absolutely insane what they're telling us. So, folks, sorry once again, just going sideways here. I'm just so, honestly, man, I'm so freaking irritated about the things that are unfolding in this country right now. And you can't get most people to even care or pay attention, or they're so invested into the tranny narrative. I don't care what this dude was doing in his own personal life. Okay, what's that got to do with blasting somebody? That has nothing to do with, one doesn't have anything to do with the other, but they keep playing this tranny narrative over and over and over. Oh, we're at war. Oh, and then I'm hearing everybody else saying the same thing that comes from that same political philosophy. We're at war. We're at war. Like Ben Franklin said, there's never been a good war or a bad peace. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, so Amber 4444 says, not sideways at all. We're all tired of it. Yeah, zombified. Fire Drake says, yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. But it's going to keep happening, folks, if we don't stand up and start kicking some butt. All right, son, anything else to leave with the people?
Yeah, the news media is just I saw this on a shirt the other day. It's at forbiddenclothes.com. Y'all check out that shirt company. But yeah, two cheeks of the same booty. That's what the two political sides are.
Wow. Yeah, I think I need to get that shirt. Yeah, the link you sent me didn't. That's not the one that popped up. So there was something else.
No, yours was the chemtrail one. They have a bunch of shit. Dad, you're gonna love that website.
Yeah, it looks like I need to go buy some shirts. But anyway, if you need some, folks, go out there. I didn't even get to Eric's piece today, so yeah, it looks like he's on the mend. So that's always good too. All right, folks. Sorry I didn't go on the path I intended, but you know what? Sometimes, man, I just need the catharsis of being able to get this off my chest. And I suspect there's a lot of you out there that feel exactly the same way. Man, thank you so much for your support, y'all. Until next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.
and in nature, let the knowledge ring. Roots that run deep, wisdom from soul, permaculture dreams. Let the ideas unfold. I'm grooving with the truth, truth, truth. Feeling nature's groove, groove, groove. Who's got the answers? All we need to do, listen to the earth, they got us through. Plant the seeds of the shame, watch the world spin. From the smallest sprout to harmony begin. In the cycle of life, where the magic's alive. Tune it to